see where you fill in your tiers, and that's what I was explaining. You can have from 1 to 5 tiers, and typically we just activate 3 of the tiers. So we type in upper, middle, and lower, and the ratings 1, 2, and 3, and then be sure those boxes are checked on the right. Okay, and then next slide. And then this is where you associate the volunteers to that tier ranking, and you do that by volunteer group, so you don't have to go in and associate volunteers separately. That's a quick process. And then the next slide. And these are all of the proposals that are assigned to that tier ranking, to that panel of volunteers. And this is actually generated automatically because you've selected the funding stream and the allocation. So this screen is created automatically. And once you've done this, you're ready for everything's activated, and you see the program tier ranking is the screen or the tab on the far right, and that's what we were looking at a while ago when we were going through the spreadsheets.
All right. Do we have any other quick questions for Gene before we proceed to our next presenter?
If you don't mind, this is Rich in Michigan. Is there, I'm not clear on what builds the ranking in terms of what criteria. There was a reference on one of the slides to best investment criteria, but how consistent is the criteria that they use to arrive at the rankings that they give?
We give them a simple handout that was sort of some of our best investment criteria, and it has to do with basically how well documented the need for the service is, and also their outcomes. So it's the need for the service, the outcome, and then there's a sort of a cost effectiveness part of it that
okay.
Is this a reasonable service for the cost of the proposal? So that's the basic criteria.
Thanks.
Gene,
okay.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
Hi, this is Damien from United Way in King County, Seattle, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
The question was, when you do the tiers, does the system force you to make it 3 equal tiers? Or I guess the way we look at ours is there's absolutely, they will be funded, they're on the cusp, and then there's a group that just, they don't fit our criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Do those have to all be equal? Or can people just sort through those?
Yes, they do have to divide them equally. And it's just, after they've read all the proposals and considering the criteria we give them, what they consider the top group, the middle group, and the bottom group.
Okay.
So that was your requirement, not necessarily, the system didn't dictate, but based on your requirements, that's how it was built into the system.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and this has really forced the volunteers to identify the ones that they think are the best, and the ones that everybody agrees are in the bottom tier often get little or no funding. That's been kind of a side effect of using this system.
Okay.
Okay, so in interest of time, we move to our next presenter, and we may have some more time towards at the end of this to ask some more questions if you guys like. Next, I want to introduce Krista with United Way of Kenosha County and Jennifer with the Kenosha County Department of Human Services. They've been collaborators working together with the system and have come up with some very efficient and unique ways of doing their evaluation. So I want to go ahead and just pass the baton to you, Jennifer.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm trying something new. I think you guys can control the screens yourself. There's little arrows in the upper right-hand side. And so let me know if that works for you. If it doesn't, I'll take control back.
No, let me see here. No, I think I don't need control.
Okay. That's quite all right. Whatever you guys want.
Again, my name is Jennifer Medor, and I'm the Planning and Evaluation Coordinator here at the Department of Human Services. We have been working with United Way way before e-CIMPACT with training with our agencies on outcomes and outcome measurement. And United Way here signed on to Seabrooks. I was very interested in the reporting function in terms of how our purchase of service providers provide us reports. Kenosha County Human Services contracts heavily for their child welfare and juvenile justice programs. So I'm just going to go through and show you how, as a collaborator, we use the system. Next slide, please. This screen is what the supervisors see when they log in. And it's a little blurry on my screen, but if you could see on the left-hand side, Nancy Ramsey's homepage, we don't use any of the, my account, demographics, and so on and so forth, because again, these are supervisors, not volunteers, so we've had to do some, not really tweaking, but just kind of bypass what the system was developed for United Way. But we do use, if you see the first arrow, we use the news items, we post questions that the supervisors might have regarding some reports. The Resource Center is a good place to put reports and documents that aren't generated by the system. So everyone has access. They never go away unless they want them to. I have also put some cheat sheets up there, instructions if they forget how to use the system or how to do this or that. It's there. They just need to remember how to log in. And then there's reports that I can, on my side, as an administrator, and then they can run them as they wish. Next slide, please. This is an example of one of the Resource Center items. These are reports that we did for the supervisors when we were going through our request for proposal process. We do not use this system for our request for proposals, but again, we use it to disseminate information for that process. Next slide, please. And again, this is just a sample of a report that supervisors can run as they wish. Next slide. Now, every supervisor, and there are 4 of them, are assigned an agency and program based on their unit. We have juvenile justice and child protective services and child welfare. So as you see, Nancy here has quite a few programs to review. And again, providers submit reports every quarter. So you see on the left, there are 4 quarter processes. And if we go to the next slide, please. And I developed a very extremely simple evaluation form for supervisors to complete. And you can see available for review. Those forms are the forms that the providers complete every month. And what the supervisors are most interested in, I would say, is the service level and activity that shows how many cases are open and closed, why they are closing, are there waiting lists, and so on. And then we